to be proofreader of your paper. Hence, be very clear and use the scientific languages. Embedding means something that you're going to include. This is very important slide. You need to be very mindful of what you're going to include in the review. It is very important that how you're going to report. Not only the table. I've seen something which is written on the table, same is in the description of the para. Oh my God. Something which is there in the figure, you're describing the figure. Please avoid that. So something that you are embedding, how you're advancing, how you're developing, how you're identifying the assumptions, what is the rationale behind your ideologies, values of that literature review, how you're developing knowledge through that, how you're debating and argumenting. This is why it is called quality. So it means that you have taken care of the quality, due diligence, while writing every section in the paper. And finally, how you're reflecting on it. Because literature review paper act like a teacher. So somebody should be able to learn out of it. And hence, how you're reflecting based on, by reading and reviewing that literature or that number of papers, what is that you get? How you help in identifying the existing gaps, how you provide guidance for future research areas, how it is going to be useful for different stakeholders, and what is the summary that you would like to reflect on. It is very important. Well, with this, I would say thank you so much. I wish you more power for your literature review papers. And I would like to show you just the template here. This template may be useful to you. We have this template in the paper that I was talking about. And this template gives you all do's and don'ts while you're working on a literature review paper. You may like to take this paper as a complimentary copy and follow this. This will actually guide you on, sir.
John, I am from the industry. Having spent 3 decades in the industry,
Sir.
Maybe my questions are very basic.
Please.
I wanted to have your thought. Everybody says the research paper should be 5,000 to 8,000 words.
Yeah, right.
Is there any scientific basis for that?
Well, when it comes that a class should be of 1 hour, there is a scientific base that how much attention a reader can keep, how much they'll be able to observe, what is that you would like to give them in 1 hour, a 60-minute session versus 90-minute session. And hence, that is the same base, that how much the publishing space a journal will get, number one, they need to balance it. Second, that at a reading, how quickly a reader can grasp the paper, that is second one. And hence, we avoid having very lengthy papers or very short papers that may miss on the adequate information, or they will overload the information. There is.
The other question I have, because my topic is on sustainable packaging in that industry.
Sir.
Whatever papers I've gone through in my work, I find there's a disconnect between what is academia writing and what's actually happening in the industry. And probably what I can see is all the journals, very few of them you will have industry experts as reviewer also.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
I'm raising it up because you are holding that position where you can, I think, bring that.
I'll also tell you one way of writing such a review. You can write realist review. In realist review, we talk more about reality. From reality, the realist has come into the practice. And you can review the newspapers, the magazines, the YouTube videos, or the courses, or the experiences. Hence, writing realist review would be more useful, because now you're the right person to bridge that gap. You come with a lot of experience, you have a lot of connects, you must be reading a lot of material which we people are not exposed to. So one is, I would humbly suggest you to write a realist review. Second is, you may see one of the favorite paper of Professor Sareen. I have seen My 40 Years with B2B. That's a very wonderful read. So you may like to read something like that, and I expect you, or I suggest you to write conceptual reviews or conceptual papers like Professor Sareen did, where your experience can actually get reflected on suggesting future practitioners and scholars that what should they consider. I'm sure the both suggestions will help you out. I'm happy to answer any other question if you have, or we can informally interact. And the last thing is about review of management literature. It may take another weeks to get reflected in the Scopus as a content, but it was accepted in the month of April, and very soon you'll find paper. And this is expected to have a very high SJR in upcoming year. We are aiming to touch or cross 1. So bless us, support us, wish you more power. One humble request is that when you're writing paper, we come from a very emerging, struggling country in research in terms of quality. Whenever you're writing any paper, I strongly request, humbly request that please keep a soft corner for your Indian-friendly publication outlets, whether it is Global Business Review or Foreign Trade Review or FIB Business Review, IMB Management Review, or any other per se. I'm naming only a few. Please keep a soft corner. Kindly add paper which is relevant to your research. Please do that. If they will grow, other institute will get inspired. When we'll have more outlets, we'll be able to offer more to the larger global academic community. With this, thank you so much, Professor Dinesh, Professor Himanshu, ma'am, and Shalini ma'am. Thank you so much to entire NSUT family for having me here. Thank you, sir. Thank you. If you have any question, informally, I'm available for another 1 hour or so. I'll be very happy to interact. Good wishes. Wish you more power.
Thank you, sir, for the insightful presentation. We are truly grateful for sharing your valuable insights. Now we are starting with technical session track 1 and track 2 paper presentations here in APJ 11. Now I hand over the, yes. Now, sir. I request Dr. Himanshu to please present the letter of appreciation to Professor Sudhir Rana. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Now we are starting with the presentation in APJ 11 only, and now I hand over the dice to Dr. Himanshu for track 1 and track 2 presentations. Dr. Himanshu, please.
ट्रैक टू में ट्रैक अच्छा हाँ ये ट्रैक 2 स्टार्ट हो गया रिसेंट 11 में अभी चांदनी वाला और ट्रैक 1 ऑनलाइन चल रहा है ऑनलाइन चल रहा है चलो ठीक है स्टार्ट कर
Good afternoon, participants and my respected faculties and my students. So we are starting our track number 2, entrepreneurship, sustainable business model and entrepreneurship. Okay, so for this track, we have session chairs, mainly Professor Satwar Singh Meena from HNB Garhwal University and Professor Deepak Kumar from Department of Higher Education from Government of Uttar Pradesh. So we are starting the sessions now. Now I would like to invite Mr. Chinmay. Now I invite Ms. Chandni to say about our session chairs.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the first International Conference on Business Research and Innovation, sponsored by Indian Council of Social Science and Research. So, my name is Chandni Sharma, PhD scholar from NSUT, and I'm honored to be your track moderator for this session. We are pleased to have you all here today, whether you have joined online or in person. We look forward to a stimulating and engaging session. To begin with, I would like to introduce our esteemed sessions who will be leading with today's discussion. I will request our convener to join us in welcoming Professor Satwar Singh Meena, who is who is a distinguished academician and researcher currently appointed as a professor in the Department of Business Management at the Hemwati Nandan Bahuguna Garhwal University, Uttarakhand. Dr. Meena is a certified trainer of entrepreneurship from National Science and Technology Development Board, Department of Science and Technology, India. Dr. Meena has an extensive publication record with 25 articles published in reputed journals graded by the National Academy of Agricultural Sciences, Index in Scopus, ABDC and UGC Care List. His substantial research and administrative experience have made significant contribution to his field and to the institution he has been associated with. I would request our convener, sir, to present the welcome. सब है यहीं है. And Dr. Deepak Kumar, who is an assistant professor in Department of Higher Education, Government of Uttar Pradesh. He was awarded his PhD from Delhi School of Economics, University of Delhi. He has also worked as an assistant professor at Sri Ram College of Commerce, University of Delhi. He has an immense research experience with many research papers published in reputed journals.
पीपीटी किस में ली थी सारी? Start first call.
Before we start with our presentation, I would like to go over a few guidelines to ensure that our session runs smoothly. Each presenter will have 7 minutes to deliver their presentation, followed by 3 minutes of Q&A session. A first bell ring will at the 5-minute mark, signaling that you should begin your concluding the presentation. The second bell will ring at the 7-minute mark, indicating the end of your presentation. Presenters are kindly requested to adhere strictly to the guidelines, and subsequent discussions can proceed smoothly. So I will request Mr. Chinmay to present their presentation.
From here only? Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Good morning to all. I am Chinmay. I am currently pursuing my PhD from Department of Law, University of Delhi. It is very intimidating to present first, I would acknowledge that. So my research focuses on proposing a regulatory framework to govern the transfer of technology from public funded institutions to industries, basically the university and industry academia. And this was the model that I proposed during my LLM dissertation, which I did from IIT Kharagpur. This is a 7-step model which focuses on the transfer of technology from industry to academia, starting from the concept of idea up to the asset management, basically covering the commercialization aspect of it. if we briefly discuss about the collaboration of academia and industry, on one hand we have the academia setup and on the other the industry setup, and all endeavor is to bridge this gap between the academia and industry, which the current research is focusing on. So this gap is to be fulfilled in two aspects. One, what are the barriers that are being faced by the researchers, professors, scholars? And secondly, how can we uphold the principles of sustainability to bridge this gap? As far as the review of literature is concerned, we started with the first mission of education as far as these educational institutions are concerned, 1100s. It went on to the second mission, which included research and amalgamated research into the education. Now in 2000s, we are upholding the principles of sustainability along with the technology transfer, education and research. The methodology that I adopted was empirical study for focusing on the barriers in the technology transfer process, the case studies method, and the qualitative doctrinal approach. The objective we can see was to provide the sustainability framework and bedrock for the technology transfer. The research question focuses on the drivers of sustainability technology transfer, the technology models that can be adopted to promote sustainability, and the factors that affect the process. I'm mindful of the timings that I need to abide by, so coming directly to the research findings. The drivers of sustainable technology transfer, as we can see, are the knowledge management, which includes the intellectual property management systems, the IP audits that are to be considered, that are to be focused in the academic institutions, which are not being done so collaboratively. And the models which uphold the principles of sustainability, I found triple helix model, open innovation model, and co-creation model, and innovative model, which I discussed in the paper. This was the empirical study that I did, and the data was fed into R Studio using our language package Shiny and all. And a word cloud was formed, which gives you the word cloud, which says the bureaucratic and administrative hurdles are one of the greatest barriers. The collaboration between industry and academia is second. And the complexity in intellectual property laws as far as our research scholars are concerned is also one of the barriers. And the infrastructure, organization, and importantly, the technology transfer and IP policy. These are some of the enablers that promote the technology transfer. Like if we have a designated TTO in our universities, in our academic institutions, a particular roadmap and policy, and a systemic overhaul which includes the industry academic collaboration and more often collaboration among the other stakeholders. Finally, to conclude, like we have to have a perception that sustainability is not a end game, it's all about a continuous process. It has to be there working like a thread which runs throughout our institutions and our all policies and collaboration. If we divide our goals into short term and long term, we should have a policy first, a TTO, less workload to teachers, and a sound roadmap and few policy changes, like if we can have a mandatory patent for our research scholars, or what kind of criteria we can include in our API to promote technology transfer. The long-term goals will include the systemic overhaul, the curriculum, the pedagogical changes, enhanced focus on third mission, as I said, which is converting into a fourth mission very often, and in future we will also see that. And finally, the strategize in terms of long and short-term goals. As far as the research implications of my current study concerns, it is with aligned with the goals of NEP, the SDGs, particularly Sustainable Development Goal 4 and 9, the innovation and infrastructure. We have to catch up with the front runners. If I talk about China, US, and Japan, and particularly Switzerland, Singapore, which are doing a great job in technology transfer and as far as the TT and IP policy is concerned. These are some of the suggestions. These were the references. This was all. Thank you so much. Sir, it was a case study. I went through universities' IP policies and transfer technology policies. Few universities were concerned, and the kind of framework and model that they were considered, I incorporated that into my research. And empirical study was done. I did a questionnaire interview schedule for around 30 professors, and one was from Ministry of Skill Development, from NC, and inputs were taken from them. I fed the data into our studio, word cloud, and all those data analysis was done to basically have a nuance of what are the barriers and the enablers of technology transfer process. Sir, this was basically, I went to the University of Delhi, various departments, Department of Physics, Astrophysics, and IIT Delhi, these two. The sample size, I acknowledge that, sample size I take that as a suggestion. I have to improve my sample size. Thank you, sir.
Who are the main stakeholders for this, for your study? I mean, who will benefit from your study?
Stakeholders or beneficiaries. Sir, if the stakeholders are concerned, the triple helix model that I recently showed, the university, the industry, and the government. These are the main stakeholders. And the beneficiaries is the general public. Because as the intellectual property management system grows in a university, it will be directly impacting the industry and the society at large. So directly taking nuances from the society and incubating a kind of co-invention and collaborative effort will be, the society will be the, at the end of the day, will be the beneficiary.
Thank you, Chinmay.
Thank you.
I request Ms. Zeba Danish and Dr. Parvez Taleb to present their research.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Zeba Danish, a research scholar in the Department of Business Administration, Aligarh Muslim University, Aligarh. Today, I am here to present the paper titled A Proposed Model for Analyzing the Effect of Personality Traits on Sustainable Entrepreneurial Intentions. This will be the flow of presentation, a brief introduction followed by literature review, research gaps, questions, objectives, hypotheses, and then the model that is being proposed in this study followed by a conclusion. Entrepreneurship is the pursuit of starting, managing, and scaling a business. It is widely seen as a solution to unemployment, and it leads to economic growth. As the world moves towards sustainability, sustainable entrepreneurship has been a growing trend as a way to address both economic and environmental issues. And sustainable entrepreneurs put the preservation of environment ahead of their financial gain or profits. Since they are the cause of success as well as failure of sustainable startups, it is crucial to understand their personality traits and their motivation to take up this route. So this study aims to suggest, entrepreneurial intention is the prerequisite for entrepreneurship, and it is described as the readiness to pursue entrepreneurial goals. And a person's traits, emotions, and actions make up their personality, and personality significantly shapes how someone behaves. Another concept that is often associated with entrepreneurial intention is self-efficacy, which is the self-belief to achieve goals. Hence, in this dynamic landscape of sustainable entrepreneurship, understanding this interplay among these variables is pivotal. So, this study aims to suggest a research framework that might help in assessing the effect of personality traits and self-efficacy on sustainable entrepreneurial intentions. Now, let's move to literature review. As discussed earlier, sustainable entrepreneurial intention is the willingness to start a sustainable business, and personality is an amalgamation of distinguishing qualities of thinking, feelings, and behaviors that make people unique. And previous studies have indicated that the need for achievement, risk-taking propensity, and other personality traits are critical in the prediction of entrepreneurial intentions. And now let's briefly discuss the variables of the study. Need for achievement is the strong desire for success. Risk-taking propensity is the ability to make risky decisions, and tolerance ambiguity is considering ambiguous situations as favorable. Empathy is the ability to comprehend and experience the feelings or emotions of others. Innovativeness is taking initiative and thinking or acting creatively. Responsibility is the willingness of individuals to accept the consequences of their actions. And self-efficacy is the self-belief that motivates people to execute their plans. And we have discussed SEI. Now, after a thorough review of literature, it was found that with a growing interest and intention towards entrepreneurship, little attention has been given to sustainable entrepreneurial intentions, and the current research on sustainable entrepreneurship provides insufficient understanding of psychological factors that motivates people to pursue sustainable entrepreneurship. And no study so far has integrated these mentioned personality traits to assess the effect on sustainable entrepreneurial intentions and the role of self-efficacy as a mediator between these personality traits and sustainable entrepreneurial intentions. With the research gaps identified, this study attempts to answer these questions, which lead us to the research objectives. And the objective of this study is to find out the effect of personality traits on sustainable entrepreneurial intentions, and it also aims to explore self-efficacy as a mediator between these personality traits and sustainable entrepreneurial intentions. These are the research hypotheses formulated for the current study. In total, there are 13 hypotheses, and this is the model that is being proposed in this study. In this model, these 6 personality traits, need for achievement, risk-taking propensity, tolerance, ambiguity, empathy, innovativeness, and responsibility are independent variables, and self-efficacy as a mediating variable, and sustainable entrepreneurial intention as a dependent variable. And hypothesis H1 to H6 indicates the significant effect of these personality traits on sustainable entrepreneurial intentions. And hypothesis 1, H1, is for assessing significant effect of need for achievement on sustainable entrepreneurial intentions, H2 for risk-taking propensity, and in the same way for other personality traits. And hypothesis H7A to H7F is for mediation, wherein self-efficacy is a mediator between these personality traits and sustainable entrepreneurial intentions. And in H7A, self-efficacy is a mediator between need for achievement and sustainable entrepreneurial intentions, and so on. Now I would like to sum up. It is recognized that the correlation between personality and sustainable entrepreneurial intention is multifaceted, and this area needs further exploration. And the government and policy makers, they might benefit from the insights gained by learning, by understanding varied personality traits, and by learning the specific requirements of individuals who are interested in sustainable entrepreneurship, and then developing a more focused and customized educational programs, policies, and legislative efforts that promote sustainable entrepreneurship. These are the references. And I would like to end the presentation with a quote that sustainability has to be a way of life to be a way of business. That's all from my side. Thank you.
थैंक यू बेटा। आपने बोला कि नो स्टडी वाज फाउंड, मैकलीलैंड हैज़ ऑलरेडी कंडक्टेड a काकीनाडा एक्सपेरिमेंट, हैव यू हर्ड अबाउट इट?
Pardon?
Macleland has already conducted a Kakinada experiment. Have you heard about? He identified different personality traits which foster entrepreneurship among the societies for sustainable development.
Yeah. But sir, it was not focused on sustainable entrepreneurial intention and just not about the need for achievement. McLaren talk about need for achievement, locus of control, and need for achievement, need for affiliation and power. But it also integrates with other personality traits, like for example, empathy has been taken in to predict social entrepreneurial intentions, but it has not been taken sustainable entrepreneurial intentions, and very less evidence are found for responsibility also. That's why it is a form of integrated model where some variables are there to, for the prediction of sustainable entrepreneurial intentions, but not all the variables are there.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Deva, for your insightful presentation. Now I request Dr. PJ Khankane and Dr. Sanjay Ingore to present their research. And now I also request Ms. Niharika Jaiswal to be prepared for the next presentation.
Thank you very much, organizer. I am Dr. P.J. Khankhane from ICR. I have worked for 10 years on the topic, the wastewater treatment and its use for various purposes. Time is very short, and I did PhD from the Pusa Institute in 1996, and after that I joined ICR, worked at Directorate of Weed Research, Jabalpur, Madhya Pradesh, and after that I joined here Regional Center in Pusa campus, that ENBSS and LUP. There I worked for 1 year. The topic, the potential of phytotechnologies in management of wastewater in rural areas. This is the problem everywhere in big cities as well as in rural area also. And what possibilities for the entrepreneurship are there. So,
So your presentation is in
next
PDF
slide.
format.
Oh,
Sending PDF
okay.
format.
Yeah.
Two fingers.
Okay. Regarding the status of the water treatment, wastewater treatment, there are the inadequate facilities of the treatment by the Central Pollution Control Board says that only we treat 28% water. And you will find in the picture also how the wastewater from the colonies find its way in the nearby rivers. Major concern, these are the studies related to the such water merged in the ponds in different states, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, all over the country. And as far as sanitation is concerned, the people, they are not, because they are facing the problem of the smell and that, because you will find the pond in Jabalpur because of the higher nitrate content in the wastewater, and alga growth enhances its impact on the fishes. In agriculture fields, vegetables are contaminated. This is the concept that the structure, what is constructed wetland. I simplified it that the wastewater passed through inlet and passed in a structure where the porous media and the fast growing plants are grown there, and after giving the retention time 2-3 days, it depends, and the treated water comes from the outlet, and that treated water which are used for different purposes. Hence the objective was to find the extent of application of this technology for the prevention of the entry of the water into the ponds, lakes, and to maintain the sanitation and to use the treated water for various purposes and to explore the possibilities of entrepreneurship. So I made the literature survey of the case studies covering in the 9 states of the India. I will go one by one. So in such structures, the major aquatic plant species used were this Typha, Arundo, vetiveria, Cana. You might be aware that the Cana is easily available in cities also, and Ageratum, and the floating weed species Ecornea, that is the water hyacinth, that you call it Jalkumbi in Hindi, and Pistia. And consortia means the mix of these emergent and the floating plant species applied in a different structure. So state-wise, the first such structure was developed at the Bhubaneswar in Odisha by the Navy scientist. And then the performance here, the DOD and COD. So I think I should come at conclusion. So in Madhya Pradesh, this is our work. We developed this structure, 20,000 liter capacity treatment using the plants. These are Arundodoniacs, and the right flask, the clear water, as compared with this, the untreated water. These are the structures, and this structure also applied at a village in Madhya Pradesh near to Jabalpur. And in Maharashtra, the studies by the Center for Science and Energy, their good work, and they developed such a constructed wetland using the KENA, and the performance is good, reduction of 80% chemical oxygen demand, COD, DOD. So in Delhi also, the many times the news appear in these Hoskas, this Nila drains. There the consortium of the plants applied. This is a Mathura. In Mathura also, these studies carried out by the IRI, Delhi. So in Punjab, in waste stabilization ponds, they use the typha species, and I come to conclusion in Tamil Nadu. Entrepreneurship scope here, what is? Because in rural area, this technology not gone there, and the Jal Jeevan mission is also going on. So they have adopted this technology for the maintenance of the sanitation in villages. So the entrepreneurship scope is there for the supply of the gravels and then the technological material. Then the wetland nursery also. Then manures, the vermicomposting and the composting can be done. And then the treated water entrepreneurship, that this treated water can be sold to the local, the panchayats or the nagarpalikas. So in this line also there is scope, and the testing of the water quality using this the meters. So in conclusion, the wetland plants have the good performance, and as compared with the KENA is everywhere, but the new plants I shown that the Arundodoniacs typha, Phragmites carca, vetiveria, means they have higher performance in removing these pollutants. And there is scope also to open the startups entrepreneurship in this area. Thank you. Profitable in the sense for the stakeholders like the panchayats or nagarpalika, because farmers or the local people, they will not apply it at their own. They need the support from the government, because there are these schemes going on. So in this, that scheme, persons having interest, they can join there. They are giving the training also, means in this line of work. Yeah. For that, then individual level, because this is an interdisciplinary subject, interdisciplinary technology, so 4-5 person, they will have come together and see the locality and where is the problem, where is the market. Depending on that, one can do these things. Yeah. If there are the takers, if there are takers, and this in rural areas, the farmer community is major, and dairies are there. If the such technology is applied at dairy wastewater site, then they manure, because by converting it into compost, that is the source, and the treated water can be sold to the for the irrigation of the social forestry. Social forestry also now, because there is a big drive of the government also to make plantation at greater level to control this carbon emission and that. So by collaborating with them, so there is scope. So more research is needed in this line of work also. So I tried to expose these things in a new platform for me. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Khankhane, for your insightful presentation. Now I request Ms. Niharika Jaiswal to present her insights. And I would request Dr. Birasna Muthuraj and Dr. Danny Franklin to be prepared for their presentation.
A very good afternoon to respected session chairs and everyone present here. My name is Niharika Jaiswal and I'm working as an assistant professor with Asian School of Business, Noida. So the title of my paper is Reshaping Mobility, Electric Vehicles in a VUCA Environment. So moving further, as it is visible, the paper revolves around two variables, that is VUCA and electric vehicles. Electric vehicle being the main character of the paper, and with the context of the VUCA environment. So what is VUCA? Maybe some of you don't know, we'll deep dive into it in the middle of our presentation. But to move forward, we all know what is sustainability and everything, but just to give you a brief introduction about the paper and the sustainability, because of the rising fuel prices and obviously the environmental concerns, we have moved from a conventional mode of transportation to a more sustainable one, that are electric vehicles. Now the shift to electric vehicles, why EVs basically? Sustainable alternative they empower lower air pollution and reduction in the greenhouse gas emissions. So the key features are they are powered by rechargeable batteries, and yes, they help in the reduced environmental impact. So now the impact that they are creating, cleaner and a more greener transportation in the long run, and with a dash of innovation, they are quite efficient and technologically advanced vehicles. So coming to the characteristic of, or maybe understanding VUCA. So VUCA stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity and ambiguity. So this is the core area of my PhD thesis as well. So if I define VUCA in a simpler term, so it is the characteristic of the modern business environment, where when you are hit with the volatility, you do not know, you are unaware of the rapid changes that are going to take place. Complexity, you are not aware of the relationships of the variables that you are dealing with. Uncertainty, you are not aware what is going to hit you hard. And ambiguity, there is not much of the relationship, you cannot connect the dots. So in a VUCA world, the only constant is change, that is very much, it goes unsaid, and when you embrace it, it will drive you to the success. So that is the core area with the background in the VUCA and with electric vehicles. So the VUCA and the Indian industry, why we went forward and did a case study on this basically is because of the dynamic environment and the market potential. When there are threats, when you do not know what is going to hit you, there is also a chance of opportunity. Where the other competitors are sleeping, you can grab that opportunity and you can make that profitable. So that is what the test lab that we focused on is the Aether Energy that I will be discussing in few minutes. So the central focus of the paper was to investigate what was the impact of VUCA dynamics on the EV industry now. And the purpose of the paper was to provide comprehensive insights into the challenges and the opportunities and contribute valuable knowledge for industry stakeholders, policymakers and scholars. Research objectives to identify the key elements of the VUCA that are impacting the electric vehicle industry and to investigate the responses and strategies that were employed by the EV industry. So moving further, this is the RM that I employed for my research paper. The design was qualitative, method was case study, criterion sampling was used, interpretive paradigm was used, and heuristic case study method was adopted. Primary and both secondary data collection was there. Yes, obviously when you do a qualitative study, a lot of biasness may come in, and data analysis was, interviews and document analysis were used. So the case introduction, the company, the Aether Energy, we did a case study on Aether Energy using the heuristic case method. So if you talk about the Alexa and Google Home, so why cannot scooters may be used that are technologically integrated and are sustainable at the same time? So this question played a pivotal role in the genesis of Aether Energy by the two entrepreneurs that were Swapnil and Tarun. Now, Swapnil and Tarun both came from the background of IITs, and the background of IIT played a crucial role. They went to their respective jobs, very good jobs, but it was the embracing culture of innovation and everything that was available to them in the IIT that when they came back. So the introduction, Swapnil was a native of Mumbai, they went to IIT Madras. This was the whole entrepreneurial journey. So when they were going in with the Aether Energy, with everything, they got the attention of Sachin and Binny Bansal, who were the co-founders of Flipkart. And they made a substantial amount of investment through which they moved forward, and they provided a much needed support, the financial support to the Aether Energy. And when they gathered, they got more new information and funding from Tiger Group as well. Now coming to the main crux of the paper, that is the VUCA. So the regulatory hurdles were one of the VUCA components, shifting consumer preferences, intense competition, and they identified the market gap, the battery replacement issues, the low top speed, and the slow charging times. So these were all the VUCA elements that were present in the entrepreneurial journey of Aether Energy. The key insights that how they overcome the VUCA of the environment was strategic positioning, innovation, adaptability, market trends, and differentiating their products from the competitors. Key findings was one of the main USP was their Aether grid network, touchscreen dashboards, over the updates, consumer-centric design, and technological expertise. The strategic takeaways from the case was foresight, the ability to anticipate and align with the market trends, innovation and adaptability, the ability to pivot in response to the VUCA dynamics. I would like to end with this, where in a VUCA world, electric vehicles are not just a response to change, they are a catalyst for a sustainable future. I know when we go for buying any of the vehicles nowadays, we still have an iota of doubt that whether we should go for these electric vehicles or not, but yes, they are the future, and with time maybe we'll get used to all these sustainable mode of transportation. So this was a case study from our side. Thank you so much. Yes, sir. Right, sir. So by identifying the VUCA components of the environment, maybe with time they will get find an alternative to these, and maybe people will start trusting it. There are real problems, but I could say they will get sorted with time only. Right, right. Even if you tell me to buy what cars or what vehicle, even I'm going to buy a scooter, so yes, maybe I have written a paper, so maybe still I'll choose the diesel or the petrol option. So that is the one that will eventually go with time, or the consumers who are with who go with the risk or everything, they are comfortable with all the charges that they are going to incur in the future. Maybe they are for that, but not the major audience. So the regulatory hurdles were, now the government is supporting them nowadays, but when they were, that were the regulatory hurdles that they were, so the first one was maybe the licensing and everything. The first one, the government was very much, now the government after COVID, they are promoting it because they are coming up with all the startup policies and now, but before COVID it was very difficult for them even to get it on paper on board. Now also some of the things have stabilized, but still there are a lot of problems. Yes, price is very high, yes, that is one. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, Ms. Niharika Jaiswal. Now I will request Dr. Birasna Muthuraj and Dr. Franklin to present their insightful research.
Thank you so much.
Presenters, please adhere to your time slots and watch the bell. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon, friends. My name is Brashna Muthuraj. I'm working as a professor of operations management at Southern Connecticut State University. I'm here to present the findings of my research study titled Achieving Sustainable Development Through Student Engagement with Learning. So how do stakeholder theories and quality management theory support to improve student engagement with learning? So this is just the perception of teachers who are working in K-12 schools. But we can generalize the findings to faculty members who are working in higher education institutions. Okay, so I'm focusing in this research study, I'm focusing on two theories. One is called stakeholder theory, another one is called quality management theory. So may I know who's working here as a faculty member? Okay, have you ever integrated stakeholder with curricular activities? So stakeholder means parents of the students and your colleagues. Yes, right? So this is what the main core of this study. Have you ever felt pressure from stakeholder? For example, pressure from students. Did they demand you to give a good grade or keep the lecture very short? Okay. Did you face any pressure from parents? Yes. So every day, when we work as a faculty member, every day we face pressure. So when I tell students to come to my office, during my office hour, they will say that some students might have visited only one time, even if I am 5 minutes late to my office. My students will tell me that we came 5 times, we couldn't be able to see you. And suddenly, they will send an email to my deans as well as my department chairs. As soon as my department chairs or my dean receives the email, right, as soon as we see, we feel pressure. Right, this has happened every day, in my university. Probably you might have faced the same thing. Okay, so when you feel, as a faculty member, when I feel pressure from my stakeholders, when I integrate stakeholders with my curricular activities as well as co-curricular activities, how I contribute to improve student engagement with learning. So this is what the study all about. So integrate stakeholder with curricular activities, face pressure, and improve your teaching continuously. So that's what quality management theory all about. So this is the model I came up with friends. So in this model, I focus on two theories. The one is stakeholder theory. I focus on, there are two effects I'm focusing on. One is called additive effects. Another one is interaction effects or contingency theory. So I propose that the stakeholder integration and stakeholder pressure positively improves student engagement with learning, and continuous improvement act as a moderator in the relationship between stakeholder factors and student engagement with learning. I did not collect any primary data to test this model. I found a secondary data which was collected through TALI's 2018 survey, which is called Teaching and Learning International Survey. So if you can find it, the data is available for faculty members to use. So I considered 2,560 teachers' responses. So this is an international survey. Almost all the countries, the data is available for almost all the countries, including India. So feel free to use. This is the title page of the teachers' questionnaire. So this survey has been conducted among teachers as well as professors. And in line with the past theories, I identified measures for stakeholder integration, stakeholder pressure, and continuous improvement, as well as student engagement with learning from this survey. And this table shows the correlation between all the studying variables. And I performed a hierarchical regression analysis to test the hypotheses I proposed in this study. And I found that so the additive effects, so the stakeholder integration and stakeholder pressure positively improves student engagement with learning, and the continuous improvement in teaching that also support students to improve their engagement with learning. So this is the finding, and I had another interesting finding that whenever the continuous improvement is low in the school environment, the stakeholder integration, stakeholder pressure will help to improve student engagement with learning. So these are my findings, and thank you so much, friends, for listening my presentation. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Okay. Okay, so I had a request yesterday, to move my presentation on 10th August to 9th August. So one of your representatives find a slot in this track. But this belongs to sustainable operations, not entrepreneurship. But I have to say thanks to your students, for allotting, time in this track. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, friends.
As we conclude this session, I want to extend our heartfelt thanks to all the presenters for their insightful and thought-provoking presentations. We truly appreciate your time and efforts that you have put into presenting your research with us today. Now, I would request to invite our session chairs to join in presenting the certificates to our presenter. Mr. Chinmay, paper title, Conceptual Framework Technology Transfer from Public Funded Universities to Achieve Sustainable Development Goals. Ms. Zeba Danish. Ms. Nidhi Jaiswal. PJ Khankhane. Dr. Virasnav Muthuraj. Ms. Sheetal Singhal. Ms. Navdeep Kaur. Now I would request Professor Arvind Kumar to present the vote of thanks to our session chairs. Thank you, Professor Satyaveer Singh Meena and Dr. Deepak for leading our session. Session chairs. I will request all the presenters and session chairs to stay back for a group photograph to commemorate this moment.
I request all esteemed guests and conference participants to please proceed for lunch. We'll assemble here again after half an hour at 2:45. After that, we have our second plenary session by Professor Arvind Kumar, sir. So please join back us by 2:45 p.m. Within half an hour, please try to wind up your lunch.